Alright, welcome to another edition of What the Fuck Happenings Here in Mendham. Anyway, so, yes, video. Yeah, we'll go through it. Same old routine, really. I'll try to change the routine soon. Different things working on, but, you know, things never get just difficult. Life is difficult. Especially as you get older, it gets more difficult. So anyway, so yes, there's this little piece of lawn art that I had to repaint, and I put Ethel on it, and it's really quite nice. Anyway, so not much about that, and then there was a big giant beet that came up somewhere in here. There it is. Whoa, yeah, I just saw it there. Anyway, so a little bit just pointing out about vegetarianism as I was responding to a comment. So this is a golf ball, you know, it's really huge. And I have a bunch of them, like 200 of them, you know. And there's, you know, last year's beets got me through the whole winter, you know, all the way through January. So, yeah, these monstrous ones, if I can just find room in the freezer, I mean, I really, yeah, I should make it for a full year on one crop of beets. Beet a day. Probably doesn't do you any good, but who knows, you know. So yeah, I've never really done this living off what you grow kind of thing. Now, so I still buy 20-pound bags of rice, but I mean, cucumbers, tomatoes, and beets is everything else I'm eating. But anyway, just interesting, gigantic. They're huge. So anyway, and a couple of them are going to seed, which is excellent. So I'll have, you know, I'll have preserved its genetic capacity. And as such, but whatever. So on to the video. Alright, we'll go back a little bit. I've met people who need to eat a lot of meat. Who cares? You know, cooked meat. Now see, this is part of it's just so... Okay, so yeah, so every time you bring up the subject, the morons show up and say something about how there's some sort of reason to think we're physically capable of surviving as carnivores, which is just absolute nonsense. Even this whole omnivore crap or whatever vor, it's just all crap. And you know, there was no, I mean, in the hundreds of years that, you know, even they were researching things like, you know, watching chimpanzees and watching other primates, there was never any issue about them eating anything except bugs. You know. And so it's only a modern thing, and you know, there's all kinds of speculation about anytime you see a chimpanzee killing a monkey, it's because the chimpanzee is crazy because it's been around human beings. Anyway, so it's, yeah, but the whole thing is just so, it's so ridiculous to look at our physical condition and say that we're at all equipped to chase down animals, kill them, rip their hides off, and somehow know not to eat the guts and just eat the meaty bits, whatever we could scrape off of the bones that we would choke on. I mean, the whole thing is just so fucking ridiculous. I mean, it's just, you know, it's just so stupid to have this argument. And again, it's not vital to the argument. I mean, even if we were Tyrannosauruses and we actually did eat, you know, have million-year history of eating meat, it'd still be a valid argument to make that we should figure out how to do it humanely. Oh, god damn it. It's just so, you know, what you have to do to communicate with human beings, you know, the crap they will spew from success is kind of fun. You know, to actually do the work and say, oh, look at that, I can actually eat this shit. Yeah, so I was just talking about gardening, and, you know, you know, it is just kind of funny, right? I moved to a more urban area, and it's easier to garden, even though I have a ton less space. I mean, a tiny amount of space. The fact is, I don't have all the critters to, you know, ruin the fun, and it makes a big difference. Frankly, big difference. Keep doing the act. So again, this is just minutia. Okay, so this was the rest of the video is basically about this comment that was playing with the word self, and there's no self, and there's no this, and blah, 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 and I just hate that kind of jargon, because I don't really care that we use terms like I or me, because we could just put brain, you know, my brain, me brain, and that's all that it is. I'm just a brain full of, some people would say, crap. Okay, you know, they can identify it any way they wish. I would argue that it's full of a bunch of decent and reasonable projections about how the reality works and the dilemma we're in, and it's, you know, it's rationally equated to different value weights to different things, and it really hasn't functioned that badly. But that's all we are. All we are is what we're a fan for. You know, you're a Yankee fan, you're a Braves fan, you're a whatever kind of fan. Okay, I happen to be a do no harm fan, minimize risk fan, a fan of efficiency, small blood footprint fan. And that's what I'll advocate for and argue for, because I am a fan for a reason. I'm not a fan because I grew up and Daddy told me these are great guys, and these guys are the best, and yeah, they beat their wives and they molest their kids, but they're great guys. They take steroids too. You know, but they're great guys. You gotta love them. They're heroes. Maybe not. Yeah. So anyway. I'm so glad, you know, I mean, my father didn't do any of that shit. Just absolutely none of it, you know. Didn't propagandize for any theme at all. I mean, some of that is, you know, a little bit insulting. Like, you'd almost wish that he'd care enough to sit there and force you to be something. But yeah, the very fact that I didn't have to emulate anything but what he did in secret. You know what I mean? Just having integrity, always doing the right thing, being careful, being a decent guy. And he never had to preach about it. Never had to show me the Bible. I would argue that, of course, it is by its function. By as soon as you become aware of all the... look, you know, knowledge is the whole thing. We're just bags of understanding, and you either have a, you know, developed understanding of all the complexities, you know, how to make fire and how to do this and how to do that, you know, how does a nuclear power plant work? How does this work? How does that work? What's the greenhouse effect? What's really happening? How does it really work? Does carbon dioxide really absorb energy? Does it really blah, 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 blah? And it's all a bunch of details, and it's all a bunch of information, and you have to put it all together to come up with, gee, this is way too messy. I mean, there's way too many people in way too many horrible circumstances. And that's not even considering all the poor, suffering animals. I mean, how many? I mean, I can ask the question, right? How bad does it have to get? So if we say that only 1 in 10 lion cubs survive, that means they have to be killed by some kind of mechanism. So these little lion kittens, you know, have to be stabbed in the eye, and they have to be, you know, put on the fork. Okay, how many before you say let's not have lions? You know, let's not do it. You have to kill that many. Fuck it, let's not do this. So the same thing could be argued about your cats and your dogs. I mean, how, you know, when you think about all the puppies that never make it to happy little home with a little food dish and all that bullshit. Is it worth it? How many do I have to kill? Okay, me. How many do I have to describe as being the price you're going to pay for the damn thing before you'll concede it's too high a price? I mean, is there any price that's too high? I mean, will you ridiculously defend it if it's 1,000,000 to 1 in the other way? And again, how do you defend if it's 1,000,000 to 1 the other way? That is, there's only 1 for every 1,000,000 happy dogs. Do you still think it's okay to impose the grief on the one unlucky one? That's still a good deal for you? I mean, how many happy people go to Disneyland in the bus? How many are you allowed to drag behind the bus? Is there a number? Can you give me the number where you start to be concerned? Because I'm concerned, okay, at, you know, 10 dead kittens for 1 cat. I'm saying that's way too many. You don't get it? I certainly get it. And yeah, you find some way to hide it. You find some way to evade it. You learn how to eat stuff you do like. So just some more stuff about psychology versus conditioning versus the the intrinsic physiological reflexes of your stupid liver. What hormones it decides to pump. Yes, so all those things are different mechanisms that are controlling you. And all of them, frankly, can be understood. And so you can even understand that when you're having a nervous episode, I'm hysterical at the moment. Why am I being hysterical? Why am I all upset? You can do this. Not that you can stop it, maybe, but you can know that, no point in me trying to do anything serious right now because I'm fucking emotionally fucked at the moment. But it is complicated and difficult. There's no denying that. And whether you're being controlled by your physiology or whether you're being controlled by your damn culture or whether you're being controlled by the TV commercial or you're being controlled by some other bullshit, inmendham. But the bottom line is that yes, you can all be to some extent understood that these are all just you're a reaction organism. And if you can deceive yourself, filter, then you can create different actions and reactions in your brain. Invited to. So they want to try to shut down whatever, Studio 51 or something because... the motives of the religious kooks. And so some of that became part of the subject somehow. But anyway, just how these people aren't defending procreation. They're not defending anything. They're just defending their own petty resentments because they don't want other people to have sex that they can't have. And it really comes down to simple arguments like that. They resent other people's happiness or other people's freedom because they have chosen they've chosen a dance club that doesn't know how to do the jig, so they don't like people jiggering. Opposite, you are a powerful multi-millionaire CEO of a corporation. Something is talking about some unrealistic case of how, blah, 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 it's suicidal, this, that, or the other thing. And all of that is pretty much mush. We know how the real world works, and failure is and the consequence of it, the deprivations that go with it, the ruining of your health, and all the other crap that happens because of your lack of money and time. And all of that crap, and it said those are real effects, and so no point in pretending that it's arbitrary. It's all, you can blame it on a circumstance. That you make psycho killers. They just don't grow out of nothing. You have to plant the seed. But there's some reason that we would be, I don't think has anything to do with it. What we're in is a war with all the other organisms. Yeah, so we're competitive, and that's the bottom line, and it's competitive on all kinds of levels. Clearly we are, what triggers us, what makes an animal ugly or attractive, all of this could have some, the idea of the snake being a reflexive thing, like even if no one told you snakes suck, you could feel that they suck, okay, without much work. That there's certain organisms that, we're made to evade, and certain smells that we're made to evade, and blah, 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 blah. And all of that has a very old biological history. But that's clearly pretty dull in human beings. We're not very instinctive. So it's almost not worth the trouble to even talk about it because there's so little of it. And the real controlling influence is what parents do in terms of nurturing and controlling their kids in terms of giving them positive and negative associations with different things. And those are the bits that really are fucking people's psychology. Sometimes of you being a fair cop and you doing the right thing because you have this perverse, distorted perception of reality. It's sort of like, not recognizing that every day people are killed. Okay, so this was using the metaphor of like, how perspective changes. And so I was talking about some comic who made a joke about the 9/11, and there's a 9/11 every day when there was coronavirus and blah, blah, blah. And you could say that, yes, there's a 9/11 every day in terms of there's going to be 3,000 kids that are paralyzed, or 10,000, who the hell knows, across the whole world. There's all kinds of these horrors, and there's these certain stupid ones that you personally give a shit about, and everyone, all the rest of it, you don't pay any attention to. So if it's your dog that's sick, it matters. If it's the guy next door's dog, it don't matter much. And then if it's the guy over there, it don't matter much at all. And if it's a guy on some other freaking continent, you're not paying any attention at all. You just couldn't give a shit. That dog somehow isn't worthy of your attention. Yeah. And that just shows the obvious breakdown in the logic of our construction. This nepotism, this nationalism, this racism, this all of these isms that are just really not smart. Trumps. The word you can't use anymore. Gravity trumps entropy. Yeah, so he said the word entropy in his comment. It was like, what the fuck is that doing in there again? Like entropy is a real problem of some kind, a threat. It's just so stupid. You know, the whole universe is on fire, and they're basically worried about some sort of entropy thing. It seems like somebody's throwing logs on the fire. So it just looks like you're never going to run out of wood, okay? You can pretend you're running out of wood, but there's no evidence you're running out of wood. No evidence is going to happen tomorrow anyway, so why is this even a concept? Is making way too few babies to sustain. Okay, so they had a little bit of the point that the world has already gone anti-natalist. They just don't know it. You know, anything that has a brain that's a little bit educated, you know, doesn't do this maintain the population thing, do enough for the cause to perpetuate the game. They really won't even fund it. If you ask them for their money to support child procreation, they probably aren't going to give any money to that charity. So it's just, yeah, we've won the war, but we're losing the battles. I don't know, you know, it's kind of funny. But in some respects, it's not true, because yes, the war is going to be stopping the dumbasses, because they really are going to ruin planet Earth. They're just ruining the game. The game of being an intelligent organism is ruined when you allow the non-intelligent organisms to rule the game. They will fuck it. You know, they will literally fuck the game. You know, they'll try to eat it. They'll try to do all kinds of things. You know. And it just ain't going to work. You can't play this game with stupid people. And the smart people ought to be smart enough to vote the stupid people out of the game. And just say, nope, this is the adult table. We're going to have an adult game, okay? And we're just not going to let these little retards fuck it. Tab, I have to go find it. So he has, well, at least he has some respect for books. So I was mocking some moron comment by Jeremiah Johnson, which was probably Farley, who knows. But just, that was just so ridiculous. I can't remember, it was so fucking stupid. But anyway, I did mock it properly. Reasonable concept of value. That, yeah, so this isn't really that complicated, you know. I mean, really, I shouldn't have to make hundreds and thousands of videos to try to explain that, oh, it matters that things suffer on planet Earth and we should stop the suffering, because you personally have to know that suffering sucks. You have to know it sucks to watch your friend or your brother or your mother or something you care about being horribly brutalized by some disgusting natural process that will cause them intense discomfort and ruin, to see their dignity stripped from them. Oh, you know, the pain. I was lucky, okay? I mean, my father didn't get Alzheimer's and, you know, all that kind of crap. He had a hint of it for a few weeks, but he kept doing crossword puzzles, and somehow it worked. I mean, he kept himself in the game, you know, even into his mid-90s. And, but I can't even imagine if he had gone, you know, all the way, just how painful that would have been to watch. I saw it in other people, people very close to me. So it's just that he represented a brain that was smart and careful and thoughtful and all those things, and it would just be a bigger indignity. I guess that's all I'm saying. It's a bigger indignity to have him pooing his pants than some of the other people I saw poo their pants. You know. Okay, so that was the end of the video because my brain finished, and all I could hear was some musical, like elevator music was playing. So anyway, so that's enough of a video. It's late today, so sorry I rushed through this a bit, but whatever. I don't think you'll miss the extra 5 or 7 minutes I could have thrown in there. And anyway, so till the next time and such and so forth and whatnot. And I'm working on it. Yeah, I'm working on. I gotta get the better grip on the bat so I can really really smash the fuck out of this crap that's fucked human intelligence. Anyway, yeah, I'm done. Yeah, so I was just looking to see if there was anything else, and it really isn't anything. So till the next time and such.